The elderly Brahman was very satisfied with the service of the young Brahmana, and he wanted to offer him his youngest daughter in marriage. The young Brahman received the promise of his elder before the Gopal deity of Vrindavan. Thus, the Gopal deity acted as a witness. When both Brahmans returned to Vidyanagar, the younger Brahman raised the question of this marriage, but the elderly Brahman, due to obligations to his friends and wife, answered that he could not remember his promise. Because of this, the younger Brahman returned to the Vrindavan and narrated the whole story to Gopalji. Thus, Gopalji, being obliged by the young man's devotional service, accompanied him to southern India. Gopalji followed the younger Brahman, who could hear the tinkling bells of Gopalji's ankle bells. When all the respectable gentlemen of Vidyanagar were assembled, Gopalji testified to the promise of the elderly Brahman. Thus, the marriage was performed. Later, the king of that country constructed the fine temple of Gopal for Gopal. Afterwards, King Purushottam of Orissa was insulted by King of Cuttack, who refused to give him his daughter in marriage and called him a sweeper of Lord Jagannath. With the help of Lord Jagannath,
are you reading from a book?
Yeah, the Caitanya Caritamrita.
Book, huh? Okay, interesting. Here it's from Vidyanagar. Okay, just kind of confused. Okay, please continue. He is the king of Vidyanagar, not Cuttack. I don't know which.
Who afterward Purushottam of Orissa insulted the king of Cuttack, who refused to give his daughter in marriage and called the sweeper of Lord Jagannath. With the help of Lord Jagannath, King Purushottam fought the king of Cuttack and defeated him. Thus, he took charge of both the king's daughter and the state of Cuttack as well. At that time, Gopalji, being very much obliged by the devotional service of King Purushottam, he brought to the town of Cuttack. After hearing the narration, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the temple of Gopal in great ecstasy of love of God. From Cuttack, he went to Bhuvaneshwar and saw the temple of Lord Shiva. In this temple, he gradually arrived Kamalpura, and on the bank of Bhargi river, he came to the temple of Lord Shiva, where he entrusted his sannyas stuff to Nityananda Prabhu. However, Nityananda Prabhu broke the stuff into 3 pieces and threw it into Bhargi river at the place known as Athar Nala. Being angry at not getting his stuff back, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left the company of Nityananda Prabhu and went alone to see the Jagannath temple. So this is the whole summary for this whole 5th chapter. So in this chapter, in the beginning, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going with his company, with Nityananda Prabhu and Jagdananda and other devotees, he came to Yajapura, and in Yajpura, from Yajpura, he passed, and then he went to Cuttack, and then he went to Vidyanagar, and he heard a story which was narrated by the Sakshi Gopal story from the Nityananda Prabhu. So we will go through each verse now. So who is the Bengali devotee who will read the?
I want to clarify this thing here. You said you said Cuttack. Can you please go to the last second paragraph? Is it afterwards King Purushottam Deva insulted by the king of Vidyanagar? Am I right?
See, the Purushottam Das was the king of Orissa. And then he actually, that king of Purushottam Das was supposed to get in marriage the daughter of king of Cuttack. But king of Cuttack said that I will not give my daughter because you sweep the road, like a sweeper for Lord Jagannath. So he didn't want to give. But then that king, actually he fought with the king of Cuttack, and he won the daughter also, and he won the Cuttack province also.
Kaivalya Prabhu, sorry. I think the mistake in book looks like.
Really?
Yeah. Vishnu Prabhu want to say something here. Insulted by the king of Vidyanagar, this is correct.
Yeah, King Purushottam Dev's capital was Cuttack.
Yeah, right. But here, can you read
No, Cuttack he won later on. And then he brought from Vidyanagar, he brought the deities to Cuttack from Vidyanagar, the Gopal deities.
Can you please read the statement again, please? That line.
Which line? Which last line, Prabhu?
Yeah, last second paragraph, first sentence only.
After hearing the narration, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the temple of Gopal in great ecstasy of love of God.
No, the previous paragraph.
Afterward, King Purushottam Orissa was insulted by King of Cuttack, who
Hold
refused to give him his daughter in marriage.
Hold on.
King of Cuttack was supposed to give him the daughter to King of Orissa.
No.
Das.
No, I think some mess up is here.
Really, I do not know, but that's written in the book.
Afterwards, King Purushottam Dev of Orissa or Cuttack, they both are same. That's okay. Afterwards, King Purushottam Dev of Orissa or Cuttack was insulted by the king of Vidyanagar. This is correct. It's insulted by king of Cuttack. That's not the right. Vishnu, you want to say something on this?
It may be a difference between two editions of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kaivalya Prabhu might have.
Yeah, I have the older one.
Older edition, yeah. And
what the new edition says, can somebody read it for me so at least I can understand? Okay. What is written here?
Okay, let me. Cuttack and Orissa is kind of, you can say, same, because Purushottam Dev's capital was in Cuttack. So he was insulted by the king of Vidyanagar. But here in your book, he says he was insulted by the king of Cuttack. Is referring to the same person. King of Cuttack, king of Orissa is the same. So, okay, there's a print mistake as Vishnu Prabhu referred. It may have corrected in the later volumes. So we will read this here. This online is good. Afterwards, King Purushottam Dev of Orissa was insulted by the king of the Vidyanagar, who refused to give him his daughter in marriage and called him a sweeper of Lord Jagannath. With the help of Lord Jagannath, King Purushottam Dev fought the king of Vidyanagar and defeated him. Thus, he took charge of both the king's daughter and his kingdom as well. At that time, Gopalji, being very much obligated by the devotional service of King Purushottam Dev, was brought to the town of Cuttack. It makes sense. This is correct.
Yeah. This was probably the older edition and new edition. I read this one. So anyway. So let us start the text number 1 now. So who is the Bengali devotee who can read?
Vishnu, you want to read the Sanskrit?
Nilambari Mataji is there, she can read.
This is Sanskrit one.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Vishnu Prabhu can read the Sanskrit. This is Sanskrit.
Vidyanchalamya pratima swarupo brahmanya devo hishataha gamyam desham yaya viprakrite dhuteham tang shakshi gopalam aham natosmi.
Translation: I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmana Devaya, who appeared as Sakshi Gopal to benefit a Brahmana for 100 days. He traveled through the country, walking on his own legs. Thus, his activities are wonderful. So, there is an offering for obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, because in Bhagavad Gita we read Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So before we start anything, or we start any new chapter, the Krishnadas Kaviraj is offering his obeisances to Brahmana Devaya. And also who appeared at it's written that Krishna, the same Krishna appeared as Sakshi Gopal for the benefit of Brahman, that he came so far away, 100 days he traveled for 100 days. He traveled through the country. From Vrindavan, he came to the Vidyanagar. So, and walking on his own legs, so we can imagine how Krishna helps his devotees. And just for witnessing this event, just for one Brahmana, he came because Brahman was a good devotee and serving him, and he served all the Brahmana. So Krishna gets happy if he serve Brahmanas and help them out. Okay, let us go to text number 2.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gauravakta Vrinda.
All glories to Sri Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Sri Advaita Prabhu, and all glories to devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So, like Chaitanya, the Gaur Purnima is coming here, and Krishna comes in the form of 5 Devata, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. So he comes in the 5 rupas, 5 different forms, and they are great in the sense, we can worship any and get purified by just that's why when we chant, like we all the time say after one beat, one round, we say Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is glorifying all those Panchatattva. Next verse, please.
চলিতে চলিতে আইলা যাজপুর গ্রাম বরাহ ঠাকুর দেখি করিলা প্রণাম.
Walking and walking, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his party finally arrived at Yajapura on the river Vaitarini. Here he saw the temple of Varahadev and offered his obeisances unto him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri, and he was walking on his foot, and the 4 devotees were with him, Nityananda Prabhu, Jagdananda, and other 2 devotees, and so they finally came to walking. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his party finally arrived at Yajapura. Yajapura is at the bank of river Vaitarini, and there was the beautiful temple of Lord Varahadev, and he offered obeisances unto Lord Varahadev. So Varahadev actually came in the long time ago in the first Manvantar, which is the Manvantar of Swayambhumanu at that time, and he actually appeared because Hiranyaksh took the earth down in the bottom of the ocean, so he had to bring back because all the Mother Earth and everybody requested him, so that's why he came in the form of Varahadev, and it was the white Varaha, Sweta Varaha. And then we have heard the story of Rakta Varaha, red Varahadev, which came in the 6th Manvantar, which is the Chakshush Manvantar. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually liked the whole environment there, and he offered obeisances to Lord Varahadev and showed respect. Next verse, please.
নৃত্য গীত কইল প্রেমে বহুত স্তবন যাজপুরে সে রাত্রি করিলা যাপন.
In the temple of Varahadev, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in chanting and dancing and offered prayers. He passed that night at the temple. So we can see the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually when came to the temple, he's showing us the example that what he did, he was chanting and dancing, and he offered prayers. And also he passed his night in the temple. So when we go on pilgrimage, actually we should try to stay in the temple if there is a place in the temple rather than staying in the hotel or motel, whatever available there. We should try to stay in the temple because the whole environment of the temple is great, because all we can feel the ecstasy there, and we can feel happy from inside the heart because whole environment is Krishna conscious there, in the temple. So we should try to stay in the temple as much as possible. Like people go on pilgrimage in different places in India, And if there is a guest house or near the temple or in the temple itself, if there is a place, we should try to see that, even though it's not that convenient, but we should do some austerity and stay in that place rather than staying in a hotel, because hotel environment, we know what kind of people come there, all permis, and that they do all nonsense kind of activities in the hotel. So we should try to avoid that as much as possible. But sometimes we have to stay. There is no place in the temple. That's a different story. But if it is available there, we should try to take advantage of that. Next verse, please.
কটকে আইলা সাক্ষী গোপাল দেখিতে, গোপাল সৌন্দর্য দেখি হইলে আনন্দিতে।
Afterwards, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the town of Cuttack to see the temple of the witness Gopal. When he saw the deity of Gopal, he was very much pleased with his beauty. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then from Yajapura, he came to Cuttack, and there he saw the temple of Sakshi Gopal, witness Gopal is Sakshi Gopal. When he saw the deity of Gopal, he was very much pleased with his beauty, because Krishna is so beautiful. You see any deity of Krishna, most of the deities of Krishna's is so beautiful, so attractive. Krishna's name itself is all attractive. It's so beautiful that anyone who sees beauty, he gets completely mesmerized by just seeing the beauty of Krishna. If we take all the movie stars or compare with any kind of model or anything, Krishna's beauty is millions and millions times more beautiful than that. So we cannot compare any beauty in this material world to the beauty of Krishna. Krishna's beauty, actually, when we go to temple, we should not just see the deities as a simple thing like we are seeing anything else in this material world. We should actually do very much with great concentration. Actually, we should see the deity very carefully, because many times we see the deity and then go away, and if somebody asks, what kind of dress Lord is wearing, what is the color or what kind of jewelry he is, and we totally forget, that what kind of jewelry he was wearing, because when we saw the deity, we didn't pay proper attention to the deity form. So we should actually see the deities as Krishna and see all the beauty, whatever we can see. So we should see at least for a few minutes, very nicely with great concentration, and enjoy the beauty of Krishna, and remember that, that Rupa, Krishna's Rupa, Krishna's. So that way, we can meditate on Krishna more better way. Next verse, please. 6th verse, please.
প্রেমাবেশে নৃত্য গীত প্রেমাবেশে নৃত্য গীত কইল কতক্ষণ, আবিষ্ট হইয়া কইল গোপাল ভবন।
While there,
স্তবন।
While there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in chanting and dancing for some time, and being overwhelmed, he offered many prayers to Gopalji. So after seeing the beauty, he was engaged in chanting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting and dancing for some time, not just 1 or 2 minutes, but quite a bit time, and being overwhelmed, he offered many prayers to Gopalji. So again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exemplifying that what we should do. We should, in the temple, we should chant and dance, and we should actually offer prayers to the Lord. That is the best thing we can do in temple of Lord Krishna. Next verse, please, 7th.
সেই রাত্রে তাহারই ভক্তগণ সঙ্গে, গোপালের পূর্ব কথা শুনে বহু রঙ্গে।
That night, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in the temple of Gopal, and along with all devotees, he heard the narration of the witness Gopal with great pleasure. So that night also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed, because the night before he stayed at the temple of Varadeva, but here in the daytime he came to Gopalji temple and Sakshi Gopal temple and stayed there in the night time after doing kirtan and chanting whole day, then he stayed in the temple itself. Next verse, please.
নিত্যানন্দ গোসাই যবে তীর্থে ভ্রমিলা সাক্ষী গোপাল দেখিবারে কটক আইলা
Previously, when Nityananda Prabhu had toured all over the India to see different places of pilgrimage, he also had come to see Sakshi Gopal at Cuttack. So Nityananda Prabhu, who was older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he was doing the pilgrimage as Avadhut, all the areas, all the pilgrimage sites. And at that time, he visited before this to that Vidyanagar town, and he saw the Sakshi Gopal temple in Vidyanagar at that time. He also came to see Sakshi Gopal. He saw the Sakshi Gopal at Cuttack because Sakshi Gopal from Vidyanagar was moved to Cuttack by that king of Odisha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hearing the pastimes of Sakshi Gopal by the lotus mouth of Nityananda Prabhu. Text number 8. Next text, 9.
সাক্ষী গোপালের কথা শুনিয়া লোক মুখে সেই কথা কহেন প্রভু শুনে মহাসুখে
At that time, Nityananda Prabhu had heard the story of Sakshi Gopal from the townspeople. He now recited this again, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the narration with great pleasure. Purport: the Sakshi Gopal temple is situated between Khurda Road Junction railway station and Jagannath Puri station. The deity is not presently situated in Cuttack, but when Nityananda Prabhu traveled there, the deity was present in Cuttack. Cuttack is the town in Orissa situated on the Mahanadi river. When Sakshi Gopal was brought from Vidyanagar in southern India, he stayed for some time at Cuttack. Thereafter, he was situated for some time in Jagannath temple. It seems that in the temple of Jagannath, there was some disagreement between the Jagannath and Sakshi Gopal, a disagreement called Prem Kalaha, or quarrel of love. In order to settle this love quarrel, the king of Orissa constructed a village about 6 miles from Jagannath Puri. The village was called Satyavadi, and Gopal was situated there. Thereafter, the new temple was constructed. Now there is a Sakshi Gopal station, and people go there to see the witness Gopal. So Nityananda Prabhu actually, when he was traveling alone with other people, not with the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the other devotees, in previously when Nityananda Prabhu came to the town of Cuttack, he heard the story from the townspeople, and he actually enjoyed this katha, and now he's reciting it again to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and other devotees. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was hearing this with great pleasure. So now Prabhupada is writing here, the Sakshi Gopal temple is situated between Khurda River Junction and it's very close to Jagannath Puri temple, about 6 miles, I think, now. And it is on the Khurda Road Junction railway station in Jagannath Puri station. The deity is not situated in Cuttack because when Nityananda Prabhu went, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was in Cuttack. And now the deity is very close to. So deity actually came to Vidyanagar first, walking on their feet, and then Gopalji came to, then the king of Orissa brought them to Cuttack. And from Cuttack, it went to other town. It says here, when Sakshi Gopal brought from Vidyanagar to Cuttack, he stayed some time at Cuttack. Thereafter, he was situated for some time in Jagannath temple. So then Lord was taken to Jagannath Puri temple. But in Jagannath Puri temple, there was some disagreement between the two deities, Jagannath deities and Sakshi Gopal deities. So we can see that even there is some disagreement sometime between, but this disagreement is not like what the color we have now in the Kali Yuga, it's not that kind of color. It was Prem Kalaha. So in the love, they like each other so much, that this was like just for the stories comes like this, just for to give the pleasure to hear these things, So I do not know what was the reason for the Prem Kalaha in the temple, two lords should not have like disagreement between them. So anybody knows about what was the reason for the Prem Kalaha?
I can share something.
Sure, Prabhu, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Sash-Gopal is, keep traveling from one place to another. I just recently been to Sash-Gopal last month. It apparently it happened that offering was being taken for Jagannath. Gopal was stealing that offering, and he came into a dream. He said, "Take out this Gopal from here. He's eating all my offerings." So make a temple separately for him. That's the reason the king had to make a separate temple away and in similar standards for deity. So for food, it's as you say, Premakala is all transcendental pastimes. Vishnugada Prabhu want to say something, yes.
I just wondered where you got that information. I'm not challenging you, but just if you could give a citation. Did you hear it from the townspeople or
Not
some
from-
other place?
I think devotees only I heard before. Do you know any other reason?
I don't know, but usually we like to cite references. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can say,
Yeah.
but sometimes we may not have it accurately if it's not coming from a bona fide source. Here we see that Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he recited the story told by the townspeople, which is very interesting, because sometimes you hear stories from townspeople, but of course, since he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can verify it, whereas we may not be able to.
Yeah, I heard this from the devotees only in the past. We have to find out, but that's the reason. Well, this
Yeah, I also remember now, Prabhu, that Pandaji told me that there when I was visiting last year to this Jagannath, this Sakshi Gopal temple actually, and this was probably right that there was, but Jagannathji is offered so much bhoga, so how Sakshi Gopal can eat all and Jagannath not have this is of course transcendental Leela, but it's very surprising, because Jagannathji eats whole day, his hands before it gets dried, the another bhoga comes, continuously eats, and he's up almost till midnight, he just doesn't sleep, for the devotees, to do his darshan, he's up most of the time. Actually, he sleeps very little, but temple is open for so many hours, and all the bhogas continuously, one after other. So many bhogas are offered to him. So this is great seva to the temple, in Jagannath Puri temple, what the devotees are doing in distributing the prasadam. Cannot imagine, it never happens anywhere in the world like that. When we see the kitchen of Lord Jagannath, we cannot imagine how many big stoves are going at one time, and so much prasadam is cooked, and all the prasadam is distributed to all the pilgrims, coming to the Jagannath Puri temple to see Lord Jagannath. Oh, great thing. Okay, next verse, please. Verse 10. Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
পূর্বে বিদ্যানগরের দ্বৈত ব্রাহ্মণ তীর্থ করিবারে দুহে করিলা গমন।
Formerly at Vidyanagar in southern India, South India, there were two Brahmins who made a long tour to see different places of pilgrimage. So from Vidyanagar, two Brahmins, one young and old, these two Brahmins actually went for the pilgrimage. And in the olden days, when people go to pilgrimage, they were going on the foot, like not in today's world, when we go by train and by plane, so now the journey is so much, so convenient. At that time, people go, and many times, when from town, when somebody goes on the pilgrimage in the town, every day there is kirtan in that town, that this person went, and till he comes, every day the kirtan will go on the town. That used to be before, in olden days. But now people go on the pilgrimage. One day they can reach in Vrindavan, but these two Brahmins, went all through the country, miles and miles, thousands of miles, they walking and taking all the pains, So pilgrimage was actually before, and many people, when they go to pilgrimage, they were thinking whether I will come back or not, The people who were to go to Jagannath Puri, not Jagannath Puri, Badrinath and Kedarnath, and so it was so dangerous, sometimes they will fall from the cliff and die, something like that. So they were completely detached, from all the comforts of the life. And actually that should be the aim. When we do the pilgrimage like that, that okay, we should be detached completely from this material world. Then the pilgrim side, will really give us a lot of blessing, And when Vaishnavas goes there, actually they actually purify even the dham. And that's why when Gangaji actually came to this earth at that time, she was saying that I can come, but there are two problems. One problem is the force of my force, coming down onto the earth, it is so much, comes with so much force that it will go to Rasatal, it will make a hole in the earthly planet and go to Rasatal. But then, and second question was that so many people will take bath in me, and they will give me so much, like all their papa in my waters. So how I will get purified, So at that time, she was told that when, like Lord Shiva, the first problem was solved, that Lord Shiva accepted that I will take the force on my head. And on Lord Shiva's head, there is Chandrama. And even on the top of the Chandrama, he took the force of Ganges river, because it came from the foot of Lord. It is water from the spiritual world, actually. That's why he took it on his head. So it's the greatness of Lord Shiva, actually. He took it on his forehead and accepted all the force from there. And also for the second problem, which was for how all the sins of Ganges river will go away. So he said, when the pure souls, the great Vaishnavas come, and to the Dham and take the dip in Ganges, it will purify whole thing, So this is the greatness of the great souls who come there. Like when Vidurji came, Vidurji went to the Dham, it was told that you can purify even the Dham. So that is the beauty of the great souls. Next verse, please. Verse 11.
গয়া বারাণসী প্রয়াগ সকল করিয়া মথুরাতে আইলা দুহে আনন্দিত হইয়া।
First of all, they visited Gaya, then Kashi, then Prayag, and finally, great pleasure, they came to Mathura. And finally, after visiting different places of Gaya, Kashi, and Prayag, then they came to Mathura, Vrindavan area. Next verse, please.
বনযাত্রায় বন দেখে গোবর্ধন, দ্বাদশ বন দেখি শেষে গেলা বৃন্দাবন।
So, after reaching Mathura, they started visiting different forests of Vrindavan and came to Govardhan Hill. They visited all 12 forests, one, and at last came to the town of Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is also one of the forests, but so they visited all the forests of Vrindavan. So all the Vrindavan forests are very beautiful and very purifying. Now there is a lot of town and everything nowadays, and the big buildings and everything, but before it was all all forest. Whole Vrindavan Mathura area was all forest. So there are on the east side of the some forests are on the east side of the river and some on the west side of river Yamuna. And Lord Krishna actually, the forests are very purifying and very blissful because Lord Krishna performed all his leelas in these forests. So there are on the western side, there is Vrindavan, so there is all the beautiful forests are mostly on the western side, like Madhuvan, Talvan, Kumudvan, Kamivan, and Bahulavan, and Vrindavan, and Khadirvan. So these are the 7 forests on the west side of the river. And east side of the Yamuna is Mahavan and Bahandirvan, then Lohovan, Bhadravan, and Belvan. So these 5 forests are on the eastern side of the river. So I was very fortunate that last time I went to, few months ago, when I went to Vrindavan, I visited some of these forests, and there are so many temples and all these things where Lord Krishna performed his leelas there, various pastimes in all these 12 forests. So in the Madhuvan is most forest one actually. He performed, and Krishna performs all the leelas in all 4 yugas actually. So in the Satyuga, in that Madhuvan area, he killed the Madhu demon. That's why it's known as Madhuvan, because Madhu demon was killed there. And also Dhruv Maharaj, actually, when he was on the instruction of Narad Muni, when he went to do the tapasya, actually he went to this Madhuvan and he did tapasya there. And Lord gave darshan in the form of Prashnigarh. So in the form of Prashnigarh, he got darshan of Lord. And in Treta Yuga, Shatrughna, which was the brother of Lord Ramchandra, he killed Lavanasur demon in that Madhuvan area. And Lavanasur was the son of Madhu demon. So we can imagine both father and son demons, Madhu and Lavanasur, they both were killed in Madhuvan. And in Dwapar Yuga, Krishna performed all the pastimes with the gopis. We hear that Krishna was doing so many dances with the gopis and Radharani in the Madhuvan. And he was playing with his cowherd boys also there. And in Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he visited Vrindavan, then he took the bath in the Krishna Kunda, which is still there. We can see the darshan of Krishna Kunda there. So in the Madhuvan, it's a beautiful place, and the forest is still preserved there, and the temple of Krishna Kunda is there. And we can see how important it is, like so many activities were performed in all 4 yugas there. So similarly, Talvan, we read a story where the Dhenikasur was killed, So Lord Balram killed the Dhenikasur there, and there is a temple of Dauji, Balramji is there. And there are so many tall trees there. And and the Kansa was actually like the tall trees, all the tall fruits were sent to him, and he was making some extract from that, and he was drinking that. It's very sweet fruit. And we cannot go all 12 forests because it will take a long time. So I'll go maybe one more forest, and then maybe some other time we can discuss. So Kumud is the flower actually, like lily flower. So also known as Kumudini. So this Kumud one is very smallest of all the ones, all the forest. So this is the smallest forest of all forests, and a lot of lily flowers grows there, water lily, and Lord Krishna and Radharani perform lot of leelas there, and also known as this kunda is known as Kumud Kunda. There is Kumud Kunda there, and also Lord of Kapil Muni. His tapasya, and he passed some time there in that forest, Kumud one. We can go and see the darshan of Kumud Kunda and Padma Kunda. They both kunds are there. We can still go and do the darshan. Also, we can see the darshan of lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya there. There is imprints of Lord Chaitanya's footprints are there, and we can see the darshan. So, okay, let us go through the next verse, please.
Did we read the purport?
Oh, I see. Okay. So we are reading 10th. The formally the Vidya.
No. 12.
Which was I reading? I totally forgot.
12.
Okay, town of Vrindavan here, the 12th. After reaching Mathura, they started visiting different forests of Vrindavan, came to Govardhan Hill. Then after visiting all the temples, they came to Govardhan. They visited all 12 forests and at last came to the town of Vrindavan. Okay, yes, I read. So purport. The 5 forests situated on the eastern side of the river Jamna are Bhadravan, Bilva, Loha, Bandira, and Mahavan. And 7 forests situated on the western side of Yamuna are Madhuvan, Talvan, Kumudvan, Bahulavan. Bahulavan, where the Bahula cow was protected by Lord Krishna. Kamevan, Khandirvan, and Vrindavan. After visiting all these forests, these pilgrims went to a place known as Panchakori Vrindavan. They went to Panchakori Vrindavan, which is a town there. Out of 12 forests, Vrindavan forest extends from town of Vrindavan up to Nandagram and Varsana, a distance of 32 miles. So Vrindavan forest is the largest forest, actually is 32 miles, and it extends from Vrindavan town to the town of Nandagram and Varsana, that are away, within which Panchakori Vrindavan town is situated. Okay, next verse, please, 13th.
বৃন্দাবনে গোবিন্দ স্থানে মহাদেবালয়, শ্রী মন্দিরে গোপালের মহাসেবা হয়।
In the village of Panchakori Vrindavan, at the site where Govinda temple is situated now, there was a great temple where gorgeous worship of Gopal was performed. So in that Panchakori town, Vrindavan, there was a small place. The Govinda temple is situated now. At that place, George's worship of Gopal was performed there. And I hope it's still going on there, because Gopalji actually went from there to Vidyanagar and Katak, and now it's near Jagannath Puri, but there is another deities there must be, and they must be worshipping. I do not know exactly, but okay, let us go to next verse.
কেশী তীর্থ কালিয়া রাধাদিকে হইল স্নান, শ্রীগোপাল দেখি তাহা করিলা বিশ্রাম।
After taking baths at different bathing places along the river Yamuna, such as Keshi Ghat, Kalia Ghat, the pilgrims visited the temple of Gopal. Afterwards, they took rest in that temple. So there are so many bathing ghats there, all across the Yamuna river. So there's so many ghats like Keshi Ghat and Kalia Ghat, and there are so many other ghats there. And the pilgrimage, normally when they go to visit Vrindavan, they take the bath in different ghats. In the modern days, the Yamuna river was contaminated by all the industrial contamination and all the sewage plant. There is no proper sewage facilities, so all the drains comes in the river Yamuna. So, but now the government is undertaking the cleaning of Yamuna river, and they are also, before it was just like few years ago, it was just all the drainage from the different industrial water. It was not pure Jamunaji, but now government is releasing some water from the different areas, like Bandh, and releasing water. So water is getting little more clear, and it doesn't look that bad. And also, eventually, it will get all purified by Krishna's mercy. So when we go, we should take bath in the holy river. Srila Prabhupada also, when he went, he took the bath in Yamunaji. Next, verse 15.
গোপাল সৌন্দর্য দুহার মন নীল হরি, সুখ পাইয়া রহে তাহা দিন দুই চারি।
The beauty of Gopal deities stole away their minds, and feeling great happiness, they remained there for 2 or 4 days. So the beauty of the Gopalji temple, Gopalji deities, were actually stole away their minds. So they were extremely beautiful, and they felt so great happiness. So when we really relish the beauty of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, actually we can get happy, because that should be the proper happiness in our life, to enjoy and drink the nectar of the beauty of the hearing the katha, chanting, they all give us the real happiness, because this happiness in this material world is not that great. Actually there is no happiness in this material world. When we actually go on the transcendental path, that is the real happiness. And then we will be actually get freedom from when we realize that great happiness in our transcendental life. At that time, this material happiness will not affect us. Actually, then we will be away from either happiness or distress of this material world, because then the devotee can stay on the mercy of Krishna, that, okay, whatever Krishna does for me, I will accept that. So that should be the motto, because what we do actually in this material world for happiness, we try to work hard like a donkey whole day, that I will get happy, I will get happy. And then we waste our whole day in this doing the material work, in this material world, and do not do anything. And we can see like more than 95% people in this material world, are doing the all material activity whole day, and they look for some little happiness, and even they don't get any. It's only flickering happiness just for a few seconds, and then again the distress. So actually, if we follow the path of transcendental path, then that actually is the proper way to happiness. Next verse.
দুই বিপ্র মধ্যে এক বিপ্র বৃদ্ধ প্রায়, আর বিপ্র যুবা তার করেন সহায়।
One of the two Brahmanas was an old man, and the other was young. The young man was assisting the old man. So there were two Brahmanas, one was old and one was young. Young was helping the older one. So older one was very happy. Next verse, please, 17.
ছোট বিপ্র করে সদা তাহার সেবন, তাহার সেবায় বিপ্রে তুষ্ট হইল মন।
Indeed, the young Brahman always rendered service to the older Brahman, and the old man, being very satisfied with his service, was pleased with him. So the young Brahman actually was rendering service very properly with his heart, and he was giving proper time. So older Brahman was getting very satisfied and very happy that this young Brahman is helping me so much. He was not his relative or his son or anything, and he was thinking, even my son, if he was here, he will not do that kind of service to me, because this Brahman was kind of like a devotee. So, and that's why he was helping the Brahmana just to make Krishna happy. When we help other people, Brahmanas or Vaishnavas, then Krishna gets more happy. That's why Krishna loves Brahmans and Vaishnavas so much. Next verse, please.
বিপ্র বলে তুমি তুমি মোর বহু সেবা কইলা, সহায় হইয়া মোরে তীর্থ করাইলা।
The older man told the young man, you have rendered various types of service to me. You have assisted me in traveling to all these places of pilgrimage. So the older Brahman was very thankful to the young Brahman, and he told him that you have performed so nice service to me, and I'm so much happy with your services. And by your assistance, my traveling is so comfortable. And so he was arranging everything. He was arranging food, water, and all kind of facility, whatever was present because he was a poor Brahman, so he cannot give him too much, but whatever he can arrange, he was arranging that way. Next verse 19.
পুত্রেও পিতার ইচ্ছে না করে সেবন, তোমার প্রসাদে আমি না পাইলাম শ্রম।
Even my own son does not render such service. By your mercy, I did not become fatigued while on this tour. So older Brahman was not having so much tiredness and fatigue because she was making it comfortable, the younger Brahman. So actually he was so much thankful because of the young Brahman was rendering nice service to him on his tour. Verse number 20, we will go 2-3 more shlokas. And we will go till 23. And then we'll stop there. And then we will discuss if somebody has any questions, comments. So a couple more verses, please.
কৃতজ্ঞতা হয় তোমায় না কইলে সম্মান, অতএব তোমায় আমি দিব কন্যাদান।
If I do not show you any respect, I will be ungrateful. Therefore, I promise to give you my daughter in charity. So the older Brahman is telling that I really appreciate and your help, and that's why I really respect you because you are rendering so nice services to me. And that's why he wanted to give the respect to the young Brahmana. He said, if I don't do that, then I will be ungrateful. So we can see here, if somebody renders some service to us, we should be grateful. Somebody does something for us, somebody gives us Krishna's name. So we should be grateful to that particular devotee, that because of him, he showed me the proper way in this life. So we should be grateful for anything somebody does for us. So the older Brahman is doing the same thing. He's doing that. If I don't do anything for you, I will be ungrateful. Therefore, he said, I promise to give you my daughter in charity. So, see, the daughter in the olden days was given in charity. Even now we say, when there is a marriage, we say Kanya Dan. Dan means charity, giving in charity. But nowadays, they don't mean that way, Actually, it's a formality. They say it's a Kanya Dan, but they don't give Dan. There's so much dowry was going on previously, like in recent few years, so much, it's not giving in charity, but they were asking for money, the bridegrooms were asking money when they take the daughter. Actually, it should be taken as a charity. That was the olden days going on. But now we can see marriages are very different, because most of the marriages now is love marriage, and all boy and girl decides. But before, the parents were deciding. So let us read 21 now, please.
ছোট বিপ্র কহে, শোনো বিপ্র মহাশয়, অসম্ভব কেনে যেই নাহি হয়।
The younger Brahman replied, my dear sir, please hear me. You are saying something very unusual. Such a thing never happened. So why he was saying like that? Because young Brahman was from very poor. He was not educated. He was not rich, from the lower caste. So that's why he was saying that, sir, you are saying something very unusual because it never happens before. So how it can be possible, because there is so much difference, because he was from aristocratic family and all these things, a rich family, and also he was not very educated. So that's why he had no wealth also. So that way he said that there is unmatched. In the previous days, Prabhupada writing in the next verse that this was not taking place at all. So let us read verse number 22.
মহাকুলীন তুমি বিদ্যা ধনদি প্রবীণ, আমি অকুলীন আর ধনবিদ্যাহীন।
You are a most aristocratic family man, well educated and very rich. I am not at all aristocratic, and I am without a decent education and have no wealth. So, in the purpose Prabhupada is writing, due to pious activities, one can be enriched by 4 opulences. The first one is one may obtain birth in an aristocratic family. The second one is become highly educated. Third one, become very beautiful or get a sufficient quantity of riches. So these are the 4 things, when we do some good devotional service, and if our service as a devotee is not completed in this life, then Krishna will give us another chance in a human life. Either we can be born in aristocratic family, or we can have beauty, very much beauty, and we can become highly educated. So these kind of things, happens to rich people. So he is saying that because of your previous activities, you are from the aristocratic family, and I am. So these symptoms are a pious activity performed in one's past life. So according to our past lives work, this aristocratic birth in aristocratic family are giving the beauty, because beauty, Krishna gives us the beauty actually. Where it comes from, some people are born beautiful, some people are ugly. What can be done? Nothing. And some people can be very smart, they can get high education and everything. And some people, like we have seen many devotees, when even from age 7 or age 9, they start so many verses and they already know. So this is all their past karma in the past life actually. So they are so brilliant, and that thing actually, it is already inbuilt in them. And many people try so hard and cannot read shlokas and cannot understand it properly. It's all also depends on the kripa of Vaishnavas and the Guru. So we have to see how we can get that kripa from the Guru and our spiritual master and other Vaishnavas, because person can try as much as he want, but without the kripa of a devotee, we cannot actually understand the proper meaning of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or anything, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we have the mercy of the Vaishnava is very important. So these are the symptoms of pious activity performed in one's past life. In India, it is still current for an aristocratic family never to consider a marriage with a common family. So if some person is common, like average person, the aristocratic family which is very rich, they will not marry in the common family. He will not give his daughter to the common family man. Though the caste may be the same, even if they are like Brahman family or Kshatriya family, but if one is extremely rich people and one is very poor or middle class, they will not marry. So marriage will be rejected like that. Though the caste may be same, to maintain the aristocracy, such marriages are rejected. No poor man will dare to marry the daughter of a rich man. If the poor man's daughter comes in the family of poor man, what happens then? She will feel sorry. Oh my God, at my home I was having this comfort, that comfort. Here you see, I don't have anything. So she will be unhappy all the time. That's why this kind of marriages doesn't succeed. So because of this, when the elderly Brahman offered the young Brahman his daughter, the young Brahman did not believe that it would be possible to marry her. So that's why young Brahman has so many doubts that how it will be possible, because I'm not educated person, I'm not rich, I'm from very poor family. So, and these people, the older Brahman is from aristocratic family, very rich, big family, rich family. So he said it will not be possible. That's why, therefore, he asked the elderly Brahman why he was proposing something unprecedented, which is asambhav. So asambhav thing cannot be possible actually, and it was unheard of for an aristocratic person to offer his daughter to a person who was both uneducated and poor. So he said that I'm uneducated and poor, so why you are offering your daughter to me? Because this will not be possible. So that's what that question was raised by the young Brahman to the older Brahman. And he's saying in today's last verse number 23. So please read that, and then this will be the last verse for today.
The purport, I think we can stop it here. We can do the next time.
Yes, because there is not much time. So, okay, from 23, we can read next week, next Wednesday. So thank you very much for listening. If somebody has any comments or questions, we can discuss now.
Kaivalya Prabhu, thank you very much for the reading and the teachings that you gave today. I was just thinking that, this was an educated elderly man, Why would he? It was just out of emotion of gratitude that he made this proposal, because he must have known that this would cause some trouble at home, but still he made it even against the desire of the young boy who's been assisting him. What do you think? What was going on in his head?
Probably because the young Brahman was helping him so much and making him so happy that in extreme happiness, actually he promised that. But we can read in the future verses, that how the old man's son and his wife and everybody rejected this proposal completely. So he was probably so much happy, that this Brahman, and he was in pilgrimage site, so at that time, when you feel grateful, to any person who does something to you, and in that mood, he offered that I am the elder person, so everybody will listen in my family. So that's what he was thinking, and he promised that, but later on he got trouble himself, by his son and his wife, everything. So probably that was the reason.
Yeah.
Nilambar Mataji.
Yeah, I was thinking about that that Brahman stayed with that young Brahman and saw his nature and his uh, respect and all those things. Then he thought he will be a perfect suit for my daughter, because once we marry someone without knowing him beforehand, so we don't know the nature of that person. The vice versa, that person also doesn't know the nature of that girl. So here the Brahman saw that this boy is really nice and suitable for my daughter, according to his nature, and respectful, helpful. So maybe that's the reason. And he could have given him a lot of money or other thing also as gratefulness, but instead he thought that his daughter, he can give his daughter to this nice boy.
Madhavi Gaurangi Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I heard the explanation in one of the classes, and there, what I recollect, it was said that this Brahmana, he has taken services from the younger Brahmana, and whenever we take something from anybody, to in return to that we have to give something back. And in olden days, the girl is very much the property of the father. So and I mean, in these days also, but we don't take it like in this manner. But yeah, so the Brahmana, the older Brahmana, thought to himself that I should be giving back something to this young Brahmana in exchange of his services. And what could be the better gift than my daughter? If we see, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, in many, even in the case of Satyabhama and Lord Sri Krishna, we can see the story goes like that where Satyabhama's father Satyajit, he in exchange, not in exchange, when he just put some allegation on Krishna, and then Krishna returned the jewel Samantak jewel. Then he was so ashamed. He was thinking, what should I give? So he gave his daughter Satyabhama to Krishna, and there it is mentioned that he wanted to give his, daughter, as because daughter belongs to the father. So that is one of the reasons what I have heard from in one of the classes. Hare Krishna.
One point I wanted to share. Yeah, thank you. Everyone. Very nice points. The material qualification and spiritual qualification. Now we see the king, the Manu, Swayambhuva Manu. He traveled all over and he found a suitable son-in-law, who is Kardam Muni. He was poor. So yeah, materially one can be very exhausted, but the Brahmana could see the spiritual qualification. And the two parts. So that's the, and the younger Brahman is saying, I'm poor. his humility, because he's endorsed with, from his statement service, you can see his quality. And unfortunately, nowadays we see, okay, beauty, the wealth, possession, name, fame, everything we see. We don't, if he's poor devotee, no one wants to give. But it's a rare, one has to know the real gems person. So Kadam Muni received the daughter from Swayambhu Manu. And that's one of the example we get from Srimad Bhagavatam also, because of spiritual qualities. That's one of the point I wanted to say.
All right, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare.
Anybody else have any discussion? Otherwise, it's past 9:04, so we can stop here today.
Vancha kalpatarivascha.
Krapa sindhu peva cha patitanam pavan